And so we all came down to San Luis for a retreat. And in this retreat, we got to see and learn about the Spanish language of the valley, music, dance, ceramics, weaving, and other artwork from many cultures from around this region. It was really a really special experience. And after we attended this retreat, we were actually given some grant monies to take what we learned from this retreat, from this experience, and come and bring it back to Adams State University and the Alamosa community. And I was really, truly inspired by the messages from the musicians, the facilitators, this Hilos Culturales experience. And so I came up with an idea where we could actually provide free recording of poetry, songs, lyrics, and spoken words that actually address social justice issues within our community. And so I want to read you the purpose of the actual research project that came about from this. The purpose of this study is to examine how songs, lyrics, and poetry express emotional reactions to inequity of people with different backgrounds, socioeconomic status, race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, power differentials, lack of power, lifestyle choices, and physical and emotional bullying. And so once we collected all of this data, we actually analyzed it and came up with a paper. And the three main themes were racial issues in the San Luis Valley, systemic issues in the San Luis Valley, and the betterment of Adams State University. So findings demonstrate the importance of having a dialogue on these critical issues impacting society today. This research project was so transformational. I wanted to create this experience, so that's why we have this Raging Studios Symposium here today, for you all to learn a little bit more what happens within our studio and also in the paper itself. And so part of the results of this study was we actually created a CD. And some of the musicians and artists and performers were actually able to donate their works to create this Raging Studios Volume 1 CD. And so if you haven't checked that out, I encourage you to check that out on iTunes. And so 4 of those tracks you're actually going to get to hear tonight. And one of those musicians involved with this CD was Don Richmond.
I'm not Don Richmond. My name is actually Julian Yeats. I forgot to introduce myself. I'll be the MC for this evening. For those of you who don't know Don Richmond, he's a very talented singer-songwriter and the recording engineer for the Howland Dog Studio. He's also been instrumental in the recording, or in the creation of Ed Richmond Studio at Adams State University, which was the studio used for this project. Don Richmond plays in the bands The Rifters and Tumbleweed, and he was given an honorary doctorate from the music department at Adams State. Without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce Don Richmond.
Thank you, Julian, and thank you, Jeremy. Pleasure to be here, pleasure to be associated with this project whose goals are very dear to my heart. I had a request to do something with this strange guitar. generic name is a Hawaiian slide guitar, or Hawaiian steel guitar. A fellow named Weisenborn that built a bunch of them. This is a song about the beauty of this world. If we can tune into that beauty, hopefully we'll treat this world a little better. I guess this might fit into this day's theme. There's a song called Wide Open. High water in the lowlands, flags blue in the sky, lambs playing like they own while they in a meadow so green, that it could split me wide open, like I ain't got no skin, wide open. I just can't take it. Wide open. Snow runs clear down the mountains to the great cloud pile up so wide. Rain on the sage perfumed like God's first breath. As the rainbow curtain comes down, I swear it splits me wide open, like I ain't got no skin, wide open. I just can't take it. Wide open. So I reach across to touch you, try to tell you how I feel. Then I see your eyes and I know there is no all this and more is shining there, and I swear it splits me wide open to the seven seas and four winds, wide open. I feel it take me. Wide open. I think I'll just do one more. I'm running out of my time here. I'm going to close my set with the song that I recorded for the Raging Studios CD Volume 1. And it's a song that's it's dear to my heart, and it's continuingly relevant, I think. It's a song about feeling that commonality between all of us humans, and so many of our different situations, different nationalities, different places that we come from. It's a song called A Lot in Common, and I started writing this song just like it says in the song. Basically, I saw this guy sitting out at the end of my driveway, and I was living out east of town in this adobe house I built back in the 80s. And this guy was just sitting out there, and I went out to see if I could, what he needed, if I could help him. And he was obviously from another country, from somewhere, Mexico or Central America, and didn't speak hardly any English, and I had very little Spanish at the time, and still do. And he was just looking for work, and I just thought about the guts that it would take for this guy to take off thousands of miles through Lord knows what, just to find a better life. And I admired the heck out of him. I didn't have any work for him, and he had heard somebody had told him he needed to go to Denver. He didn't know what Denver was or where it was, but I took him down to the end of the road, gave him a little money, and said, well, Denver's that way, That's about all I knew. But, we gotta find compassion for each other, I think. A song called A Lot in Common. Man came to my door to ask for work and food. I gave him what I could, but I had nothing he could do. We didn't even share language, maybe half a dozen words. And he was off to seek some city whose name had once heard. We have a lot in common, that man and me. Hands that warm, and eyes that wanna see. Feet that wanna walk the road to where we wanna be. We have a lot in common, or so it seems to me. A man walked up to me one day and asked me for my change. With bleary eyes and broken smile, clothes all disarranged. Don't know if I did him a favor, but he thought me generous. And he was off to get his mind, sweet forgetfulness. We have a lot in common, that man and me. A heart that's often hurt, and I just sometimes see. A fear that makes us run from what we really like to be. We have a lot in common, so it seems to me. Underneath our skin, and it should be common knowledge that inside we're all kin. We try to make some sense of things that we can't understand. We have a lot in common, we do the best we can. Thank you so much. Thanks for Julie and Julia. Everybody who had a hand in this, and thank you all for coming out.
Thank you for that lovely set, Don. Let's give a man a hand.
And Julia suggested I to speak a little bit about that a lot in common. You know, it has what is really my favorite line that I think I've ever written in it, is that we have a lot in common, we do the best we can. Given, you know, we're like a tree or a plant that grows as well as it can, given the environment, given the nurturing, given the opportunity. And, you know, I think if we can see that in each other, if we can find that kinship inside, I think that it'll be a better world going forward, you know. So anyway, that's what it means to me, anyway.
That was part of the lyric analysis they did after the recording of the album with Raging Studios, so thank you, Don, appreciate that. Jeremy wanted me to mention that that was part of the post-production phase, was an interview and lyric analysis of the pieces, and the process that the songwriters went through with their experience converting that into a song and then into an album, and so on. So really appreciate your music, Tom, thank you. Our next artist is another participant with the Raging Studios project. Her name is Julie Wexel. She's a local poet, and today she would like to share her poem entitled White Goats.
Thank you. I'm Julie Wexel. Okay, now it sounds good. Anyway, I'm Julie Wechter. The title of my poem is actually Custer and Carson Did My Dirty Work, subtitled White Guilt, you'll see why. Woodland Erie's red, bent-armed trees track deer along the lake, weary of wolves. A Yankee kid in cowboy hat and holster, I hitch rocking horses with jump ropes to a refrigerator box wagon, shoot pursuing redskins with my toy 6-gun. I never torched a teepee village, rode down a mother clutching her child, never shot a bison, piled carcasses by bloody iron rails. Petroglyphs alive, battle, dance, and ride in my first Colorado dream, home far west of Serpent Mound. This land of blue sky was not bequeathed to me, white cowgirl Indian loping across the west, wild no more forever. I pay the mortgage on my home of canyon colors, copper, sandstone, spruce, native rugs, cushioned hardwood floors, framed faces of grandfather chiefs, and painted ponies, reminders on my walls. Brown children herd grandma's sheep, wander across sun-baked mesa, home on the res of booze and abuse. My debt to them, impossible to forgive. I am Columbus's retroactive conspirator and his victim. Susan Brown Miller wrote, "All men accrue power from the rapist few," just as I cashed dividends of crime and courage committed by conquistadors, capitalists, pioneers, inventors, and entrepreneurs. I never clear-cut virgin forest, interred Irish miners like canaries, never scarred a black man's back, locked a sweatshop's doors. I never trudged behind an ornery mule, plowed, planted, irrigated a crop, never stooped crooked in a spinach field, butchered a steer. Edison and Ford, Jobs and Gates did my thinking for me. I never understood electricity, radio waves, combustion engines, can't comprehend gigabytes, microchips, mysterious virtual universe. A midden mound of sacrifice fossil fuels my life. With clean hands I fill my belly, pray my soul can be reclaimed. Sacred mountain of the Dene rises above the Rio, sanctuary of lost spirits, those deaths by which I live.
Battery must have ran out. So, what an amazing message in that last poem. Every time I listen to that, I have a deep connection with the white guilt I actually felt out there in Hawaii and all of the ways that colonialism has impacted different populations across the world. And so, you know, this particular work actually connects right to the main theme within our study, which was racial issues within the San Luis Valley. And there's actually a sub-theme within that theme, and that is cultural outsiders, increasing understanding. As this work really helps us understand what other cultures are going through, so we as humans can seek empathy and understanding. So my brother had kind of mentioned earlier that there was actually three main pieces of data collection within this project. So in Julie's case, it was her poem, her poetry analysis, and her interview. And I think it's important to mention, you know, Julie actually did suffer from some of this white guilt, and she carried a lot of shame with her as she recollected what had happened to the Native Americans in our country. But the transformation through the process, in the Raging Studios process, was pretty amazing. It was astounding as she actually mentioned how she started to feel less guilt about the process. And actually in the interview, she did explain, These were her words from the interview. "I don't have to feel guilty somehow being the precedent to my advantageous life. But we have to recognize how some of these conditions have affected African Americans, Native Americans, and other populations, or migrant workers we have amongst us in the valleys." And I think it's a really important point that within this research, these reflections actually clearly show how Raging Studio's methodology played an important role to help participants increase their emotional intelligence, and many other participants, not just Julie, could actually have some emotional healing during this process as we addressed equity in this research. And we had many different people from a wide range of backgrounds. We had some faculty members, we've had some community members, we had staff of Adams State, and we had some students in here too. And just to kind of point out, we don't actually have any students here today. A lot of them are out enjoying their summer and not really around Alamosa right now. But I did want to mention that part of this project within some of my classes, I was actually able to use a pedagogical technique where we had the students write poetry that addressed equity issues, and it really helped the students in the class have a better understanding of these equity issues within our community. So that was really important. Although we didn't have any other students available today, I did want to talk about one more theme and sub-theme, and that is systemic issues in the San Luis Valley. That was the major theme, and one of the sub-themes within that was homophobia. And we actually had a participant who wrote Jerusalem Benavides. He actually wrote a song called It Makes No Difference. And so this song is about how he experienced the gay community within the San Luis Valley as them living in secret. So he gave an example how it was difficult for him because he came from an open gay community, and when he organized dinners out with some other gay people within the community, there was he said they were very much in the closet here, and that there's a lot of fear. He thinks some of that fear was based on potential rejection, poor treatment, and even violence against gay couples. And so I'd like to actually mention that this isn't just Don Richmond or Julie Wechter. There's a bunch of different musicians that are here to kind of address some of these social justice issues. And some of the first song we'll play tonight with the Rippah Shreddahs actually is written to also increase understanding and find ways that we can support the LGBTQAI alphabet soup populations. Right? So without further ado, we're going to actually play a track from the album. This is Jerusalem Benavides with It Makes No Difference.
Well, it's easy to see you again. The nights are long and lonely without you, my friend. I like the way you look in the shadows of the night. I like the way you look in the yellow morning light. can be famous. I don't care what they say. It makes no difference. Would it make a difference if I held you one more time? Would it make a difference if I even tried? So many questions, so many reasons why it makes no difference. It makes no difference. No difference.
All right, thank you for sticking around. At this point in the evening, we'd like to have everybody partner up. We're going to do what's called a dyad. So find somebody, if you don't know them, that's all right. We're just going to have a conversation for a couple of minutes. And the point of the dyad is to practice good communication in terms of equity with communication. So if it's that person's turn to speak, please just let them have that time. If it's silence, feel free to just smile and nod. That's the main goal, is to just have a really equal footing in conversation. So the first prompt I'm going to give you before the Rippah Shreddahs come on in a few minutes here is what has interested you most about the Raging Studio Symposiums today, and why? So please partner up, and I'll start a clock for 90 seconds. The first person can speak, and then we'll switch to the other person. Yeah, 1 second. All right, the prompt is, what has interested you most about the Raging Studio Symposium, and why? All right, person A can begin now. To introduce the Rippah Shreddahs. This is my brother's band, and a lot of his music is pretty relevant to the topic at hand today. There's a certain kind of oppression you feel in Hawaii as a white person, and he lived in Hilo for 8 years, experienced a lot of physical abuse and verbal and mental abuse as well. So I think that everyone has a different experience with prejudice in their lives, and songwriters have an outlet for that. Artists, poets, artists of any kind really get to share that experience with the world. So my brother's music is very special in that way. If you listen carefully to the lyrics, you'll hear some of his most visceral experiences he's had with it, including getting a surfboard hit over his head and this sort of thing, just for being in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong color skin. So, I think it's important to share that message, and it's important to put that positive spin on it. I really appreciated a lot of the words Don shared about taking this oppression and the different experiences that people have with it and converting it into optimism and talking about how can we bring this change about in our world. I think it's very pertinent right now in our times. So as you're listening to this music, which is going to be pretty fun and lively, feel free to get up and dance. You're also going to hear some of these pretty heartfelt messages of difficulty with those issues. So I'd like to invite to the stage my brother, Jeremy T. Yeats, as well as our bass player, Mike Noonan, and our guitarist, Eli Doxson. Come on up, guys. I'll be playing drums. Thank you. This first song is called We Are a Village, and it's about creating that social change in each of our villages, however small. coming together in that.
Security. Uh-oh, we got some stage crashers. Yeah, so if we're going to be a village, we're going to come together, we're going to get some dancers on the scene. How about that? So this is a little tune that I wrote. It's about standing up to the oppressors, especially with the LGBTQ communities. So I actually had the department chair of our department. She was a lesbian, and we got to go and we would actually we did this presentation at a conference. And so I wrote this song for the conference to address homophobic bullying in PE. It takes a village. Hey, let's give it up for our dancers. How about that? So, this next song is actually the song that I gave to all the participants as an example of how you could take a lyric analysis and get a lot more depth behind the song. The song is called Hawaiian Pride, and it talks about a lot of pretty much it stems from the injustices and the atrocities that were committed against the Hawaiian people, and how there's a great deal of animosity between the races. And so, they'll get terms like haole, which means white, foreigner. You'll get terms like wahines, which means women. And so we've got some behind the scenes kind of pictures, and so the participants in our study kind of got to see that as an example, as they were actually able to write their own poetry and lyric analyses. And so without further ado, we're going to pump the bass. Thank you very much. So blessed to have so many educators amongst us. And please go take these positive messages out to the community, because education heals nations. songs dedicated to the God of knowledge, whose wisdom is divine. Alien his connection to the islands, slaves and capitalism style. He will overthrow the queen, militia governments, all the while. Change the scene to the kingdom of Hawaii, in the isle of Hawaii. Timoteo, the leading battles, the rise of Kamehameha starts on the west side. A proud leader gave a reward to a fierce warrior. Give a land that's right. On top of the volcano to the ocean, future generations hold for life. Practicing beliefs and living off the lands. No strife, sacred land in the kingdom of Hawaii, until the end of time. A breath from Hawaii center focuses on the one true way of life. The Rhino, for the Kanaka people, roots and culture, the Master. Priestly positions of men and women, honoring deities in our ancestors' time. Chaos dedicated to the God of knowledge, whose wisdom is divine. Descendants of Timoteo, living in Hawa's curtains. Generations rooted in this space fishing village. Uncles spreading aloha, no scared of the shark fin. Decades of working on this island, now it's a battle with the system. Ancestral methods of cultivation are now threatened by a Hawaiian diminish. A judge deciding papers didn't prove native tenant rights condition. Label leading movement, silent blessings for him. A government and police-led eviction and the system wins. The system will always win. You have to press rewind, you have to begin again. We may not have Hawaiian in our blood, but we have them in our hearts. And it was like this from the very start. And there will be no more oppression upon this land. Nailed it. Thank you, thank you. I think there's some more dancers that want to join us on the stage. Maybe. Whoever wants to dance, come dance. So, yeah, there's a lot of bad-minded and evilness out there. So, let's see what we can do to keep the positive energy. you, everyone. Yes, we are the Rippah Shreddahs, and we pride ourselves in bringing you island music with mountain flavor. Okay. Hey, let's give a hand for those dancers. That was amazing. They know how to run a show. Hey, why don't you guys go find your parents and we'll bring you up later when it's the family song. Good job, buddy.
Remix
about how socioeconomic status doesn't matter what color your skin, where your background is. The biggest indicator for education is actually socioeconomic status. So, we gotta think about how we can leave the middle beyond the rise. Yeah. This next one, I gotta think back to another track on the Rippah Studios Volume 1 album. This one was written by a woman named Karen Lemke, and I think it's a very, very important sub-theme from in this research, and it's about gender equity. And so, specifically when we're thinking about the ways in this gendered communication and the way that men and women speak to one another. So I think we need to be thinking about equity in terms of not only race and socioeconomic status, but it's really a male-female thing as well. And it's actually a two-way street. I've known some radical feminists out there. Hey, I love them too, but sometimes those men, they get nothing, we've heard about some anti-breeders from some LGBTQ, so I mean we got to think about that it's a two-way street, and there's some women out there that are crushing men's dreams and crushing their hearts as well.
Well, tell us how you really feel about this.
Well, it's an old school tragedy.
Was this in the script?
Now it is. There you go. That's you, bud. It's an old school tragedy. Thank you very much for coming out tonight. We're getting towards the end of our program, but we couldn't finish this program without that great honor of sharing the stage with Don Richmond, Julie Wechter, all these wonderful people that have come together on this project. So we'd like to invite Don Richmond to the stage, please. So, this next song is a song about family. It's called Brand New Journey. So that's why we're inviting our family on the stage tonight. Thanks for joining our Rippah Shreddahs family tonight. The Roots Doctor is going to say, hello. So, we're very thankful to have an honorary Rippah Shreddah up here with us tonight. Thank you to Don Richmond. It's our first time getting to jam with him. Very special. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we're going to do a little Rippah Shreddahs.
Dr. Jeremy Yeats.
Actually, we have 2 doctors on the stage. And if you count Mike, he's a PA. We have 3 doctors on the stage. So.
But nobody have any problems, because we're not that kind of doctor.
Well, one of us.
He is. Well, you guys want one more song? Yeah. All right, let's do it. This is our favorite one, Clown Soldiers.
So I don't know if you all know this, but Jeremy and I started our careers as professional clowns. And if there's one population in this world that gets more abuse, I don't know who it is.
Clowns.
So
Coulrophobia.
Coulrophobia, we even live with it.
It's a real thing.
So we're gonna be making balloon animals after the show for any of the kids that are around here. And in an effort to emphasize, you know, the lack of need for fear of clowns. So, yeah, this next song is about clown soldiers. That's my brother. So.
on the drums, Eli Dobson on guitar. Thank you, Don Richmond. Thank you, Julie Wechter. This has been a Raging Studios Symposium. So, I think it's very important to go out into the world and think about how you can be the change that you want to see in the world. And before, as we're packing up, as we're making balloon animals for the children, we're gonna play a recording of the tune Raging. And it was very, very special to be able to play music in the studio with Don Richmond, Ben Payton, and myself. And we wrote this song. This is actually a meta-analysis of the whole Raging Studios project. And so what we did is we used the words from the participants, from the Raging Studios Volume 1 album, and we created this track, Raging.